Thank you for tuning into Tanaka TV, the best and future biggest fight channel on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like, that comment, that subscribe button. We're trying to get this channel to, I don't even know. It's a new year, people. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. We made it. All right, we made it. And I know it's been a minute since I made a video. I was on vacation, people. Hey, I need a break too, right? And my vacation was in Okinawa, Japan. I know a lot of people give like Tokyo hype. A lot of people give Osaka hype, which, granted, they should be hyped up, okay? But when you come to Japan, go to your Tokyos, go to your Osakas, but do not be mistaken that Japan has so much more to offer people, okay? Go to Okinawa, go to Sendai, go to Hokkaido. Go see Mount Fuji. Japan has so much to offer. I'm just having an amazing time in Japan. And like I said, I was on vacation, hey, with my girlfriend. Okay, she's so amazing. All right. But anyways, like I said, Happy New Year. And we're going to start this new year off strong, okay? Today we're going to talk about who, as a champion, is going to stay a champion by the end of the year, and who probably won't be a champion by the end of the year. First, we're going to start with Islam. Islam, for me, is kind of a no-brainer, especially if he gets past Arman. If he gets past Arman, I don't really see anybody in that division beating Islam. I'm just going to be honest. When I look at that division, I mean, you've got Charles Oliveira, but he's already beaten Charles. You got Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, Dan Hooker, Michael Chandler. You've got some killers in that division. But that also goes to show you how much of a killer Islam is. And so I'm going to vote and say Islam stays champion. Now, next, we're going to look at Belal Muhammad. Ooh. So you got Leon Edwards, you've got Shavkat, you got Kamaru Usman up in there, you got Sean Brady, you got Buckley up in there, Machado Gary, Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, and Jeff Neal. I'm going to say Belal does not stay champion this year. I think that when I look at that division, there are so many killers. That is a really tough division. And don't get me wrong, Belal Muhammad, he's a beast. He's a very solid champion, a very well-rounded fighter. But when I look at him fighting Shavkat, when I look at him fighting possibly, Buckley, I think Buckley is going to be a dark horse in that division. I really do, people. What Buckley just did to Colby Covington, now granted, Colby is not the same Colby. I don't think that, he was maybe 5 years ago. But it was an impressive fight nonetheless. And I think, don't sleep on Buckley. He might end up being champion this year. Keep that on your notes. Keep that on your notes that I said that. Okay? Next, we've got Du Plessis. I think that this might be the hardest one for me as far as him staying champion. I'm going to say, when I look at that division, you've got Sean Strickland, you've got Izzy, you've got Khamzat, you've got Robert Whittaker. I'll say the only way that Du Plessis loses his belt is to Khamzat. And I do feel like that fight is probably going to happen this year. And so I'm going to say Du Plessis does not stay champion this year. I think that when he fights Khamzat's going to be champion. I just, there's no way around that one. There's really not much to dig into that. Like, when it comes to the other fighters in that division, I don't see anybody beating Du Plessis, but he's got a big obstacle in his way when it comes to that Khamzat. That Chimaev guy, he's something else. He really is. And if he can get that weight under wraps, he's green. He is green to be champion and for a long time. Next, Alex Pereira. I think Alex Pereira, who in my mind is the fighter of 2024, he was the fighter of the year. Hands down for me, Alex Pereira is the fighter of the year. And is he going to stay champion? I will say yes. I think Alex Pereira will stay champion for the course of this year. There's really not much to dig when it comes to Alex Pereira. When you look at that division, I just don't see I just don't see a current threat for him. I really don't. Next, we've got John Jones. Now, John Jones is a special case now, isn't he? Because when you look at John and you put him up against Tom Aspinall, who I have John Jones beating, but it's a bit tricky because he might retire this year. And so for me to say that he will remain champion throughout the span of this year, if he doesn't retire, yes, John Jones is going to stay champion. But being that he might retire, that's a hard one, right? So that one's going to be kind of like a NA. We're going to put an NA next to that. But he beats Tom Aspinall. I'll put that out there. I skipped some fighters, didn't I? Hold up. Wait a second. Ilia Topuria. Do I have him being champion by the end of the year? I'm going to say I've got Ilia staying champion this year. Yeah. I think Ilia is a very dangerous guy. And Ilia gets a lot of heat, right? Because I think that he's a kind of an unlikable guy for a lot of people. But you can't let that cloud your judgment. You can't let that jade you when it comes to his ability to fight. And that man can fight. Very complete fighter. Some of the best boxing in the UFC right now. After what he did to Max Holloway, I got Ilia staying champion. Unless he chooses to move up, which I don't know how the UFC is going to handle that. I think Ilia needs to do some more work in that division personally. But if he doesn't move up and he stays in that division and he tries to clean house in that division, Ilia stays champion. We've got Merab. I think Merab, looking at that division, you know, you've got Sean O'Malley, you've got Umar, you've got Peter Yan, you've got Corey Sandhagen. That's some tough fighters in that division. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say, this is a hard one. I actually think this might be the hardest one, to be honest. When I really look at it, this might be the hardest one. Because Sean O'Malley might get a rematch. Somewhere down the line, Sean O'Malley might come back. And you've got Umar, and you've got Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen, who I still think is a dangerous fighter and is very underrated in that division. I like Corey Sandhagen. I really do. And so, I'm going to say Merab doesn't stay champion this year. And I think that's going to be I think that is going to be the biggest what if for this year is Merab staying champion. We've got Pantoja. Okay? Now that division is very competitive. I'm going to be honest. You've got Brandon, both Brandons. You got Brandon Royale and Brandon Moreno. You've got Kai Kara France, Tatsuda Taira, who's making noise. I'm going to say Pantoja does not stay champion this year. I think that division is going to go through some changes this year. I mean, from 1 to 4 in that division, 1 to 5 in that division, there's some heat. And so Pantoja's got work cut out for him. I'll put it that way. And so I've got the tides changing for that division. Moving on to the women's divisions, we've got Valentina Shevchenko. We'll start with Valentina. Looking at the division, honestly, the only person that I see giving Valentina some sort of work or even some sort of contest is still Alexa Grasso. I like Alexa Grasso. I like her fighting style. I like her heart. Her boxing is really good. She's very well-rounded. If they fight again, who knows? Who knows how that fight goes? But outside of that, I don't have Macy Barber winning. Rose Namajunas is a very dangerous fighter, as we all know, a former champ. But I think Rose has lost a step, and we might be seeing Rose retire soon. I'm just gonna be honest. So Valentina stays champion. We've got Weili. I think Weili actually had one of the best performances last year when it came to her beating Zhao Nan. And I love Zhao Nan, okay? I think Zhao Nan is a killer. And if Weili did not exist, Zhao Nan would be champion. And looking at that division, I mean, you've got, starting from number 6, Mackenzie Dern, then you've got Amanda, and then you've got Jessica Andrade. You've got Zhao Nan and Tatiana Suarez. I just don't think there's enough heat currently in that strawweight to beat Weili. I'm just gonna be honest. I just don't see it. Outside of Zhao Nan, I mean, I haven't really seen or heard much from Tatiana Suarez lately. So I'm gonna say Weili stays champion. And last but not least, we've got Juliana Pena. I think Juliana Pena loses the belt this year. But it can only be to Kayla Harrison. If Juliana Pena fights Kayla Harrison, she loses. Juliana will lose that fight, I think. So I think Kayla Harrison is probably going to be champion by the end of the year. And we're going to see how, if Amanda Nunes comes back, we'll see how that shakes up the division again. I don't know if Amanda will come back. I think it's going to take a lot to hype Amanda to want to make a return to that division. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I think the only way that it will happen, or the best way for that to happen, is if Kayla Harrison becomes champion. Because that is going to put a fire under Amanda. And I think that there is going to be word on the streets that Kayla Harrison is the one that you haven't beaten yet. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole UFC map plays out. We're going to see if I'm right. I'm going to keep this video close by, and we're going to see if I'm correct. Let me get your guesses on who stays and who goes as champion, people. I would love to get your opinion. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the very first video of 2025. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.